Well, we're back again for part 15. Hopefully the last part. It may not be, depending on what we run into, but we're kind of aiming for this to be the last part. I guess I cheated you out of an experience because I did crank it very quickly. Turned it over with the fuel pump relay out. Made sure we had oil pressure. We built oil pressure while it was turning over. So I was very glad about that. Then so what do? We put the intake plenum installed, spark plugs installed, coils installed. Don't forget, you've got these capacitors for your ignition system, one on each side. Here's the other one on this side. Those got to be in there. Also, the radio interference ground, which is a little strap you see back there, a little metal strap. It connects to the intake plenum bolts on the back. Use dielectric grease there. Where all the ignition coils are, I put a little dielectric grease here just to be sure if they needed a ground they'd have one. Not sure they need one, but dielectric grease is cheap. Then we went ahead and put the fuel pump relay, and we cranked it. Had bled out the air here on my fuel pressure gauge, this little button, bleed the air out just to make it go a little quicker. Right now it's sitting about 38 pounds. It's low. It'll come up from there. I'm going to leave that on there and check it. Hopefully it's running about 50 pounds once we get it going. The throttle body's on, idle air controller, throttle position sensors plugged in, the intake air temperature, and then down in here is the manifold absolute pressure sensor. They're all connected. Anyway, fired it up, and it fired and ran for just a second. I didn't have it hooked up to the cooling system, as you can see here, and also we had the transmission fluid coolant lines off, so they were blowing transmission fluid. So we just very quickly, I just want to make sure it was going to fire, make sure there was no huge concerns that might cause me to have to back this wagon up right away. So after that, we went ahead and put on the generator and the air conditioning compressor. Put on the the power steering pump, and then we put on the serpentine belt. So anyway, the motor is mostly done. I've got to still put the breather box, and then over here is where the air filter box goes. We'll put that on shortly. Also, we've got to put the battery tray back in it down here, and it's also got a battery temperature sensor, which we tore up taking it out. So we've got a new one of those, and it'll plug in there. And then it's onto the radiator. The radiator's got to be installed. This is the air conditioning cooler, and in front of that is this particular one has a power steering fluid cooler because it's got a power steering driven fan. I don't know how many of you have ever dealt with a hydraulic cooling fan on a car. I certainly have never seen one before now. But anyway, so it's pretty much just the cooling system, and we should be ready to fire this guy off in earnest. I'm a little concerned just because of the gas has been sitting in this thing for about 6 to 9 months, and so I'm not sure what condition it's in. It's about was going to drain it and checked it, and it's got 3/4 of a tank of gas. And so I'm thinking when I go to the parts store here in a little while that I'm going to get some Stay-Bil or something to put in the fuel. So anyway, I'll get back with you once we get this radiator system installed and get moving. Well, I'm going to have to apologize for the lighting. I don't know if it's too bad or not. Hopefully this thing will adjust. Basically, it's getting dark here. I'm not even going to try to go through a list of everything that we installed. You can see pretty much we installed everything. Just a couple of notes. Let that person drive by first. Just a couple of notes on a few that I consider to be key issues. The installing of the exhaust Y. Wow, what a chore. That's less of a chore than installing a motor with the exhaust Y in, but not a trivial matter. Also was able to get a 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch ID coupler and so I'm not going to have to go get it welded, which is good by me. It's not much of an issue to do it, it's just time. I got the front grill on, put in these new halo lights and this new chrome front grill, which doesn't come with it, but I think it really looks sharp with the halo lights. So I like that. Otherwise, it's running. Bodywork right there. And otherwise, the body's in extremely good condition. So I think we have a few issues we're going to have to work on. Turn the air conditioner on. The compressor didn't kick on. No idea what that's all about. When it started, it smoked like a freight train. Of course, it's just burning off exhaust pipes that I'd handled with the greasy hands and those kind of things. But that cleared up quite quickly. Was able to get all the fluids into it. And with this hydraulic fan, that was quite a bit of fluid here in the power steering pump. New hoses, new belts, new air filter, and otherwise I think we're near to finished. Let me put the crank on this thing for you, and let's see what we see. I'm going to kick some dash lights on here, turn off the radio. Okay, so if you'll notice, oil pressure's coming up, temperature's up. I'd already got the temperature up. Kill that fan there. The temperature's up, oil pressure's up. It's idling at a decent idle, about 750 once it settles down. You'll notice the brake light is on for reasons I don't know yet. The ABS light's on, probably a bad ABS sensor on one of the wheels. I'll test that later. Seatbelt light will go off if I put my seatbelt on. Check engine light's on. I'm going to check what codes are popped right after we get done here. But I expected the check engine light to be on because one of the oxygen sensors is not currently plugged in, waiting to get that plug and replace it. Also notice, I think I told you this thing had 120,000, that's what I remembered, but actually once you get a battery and turn it on, it's got roughly 155,000 on it. So it's sitting good. It's a good looking car. Leather interior's in pretty good shape. You know, it's an okay deal, I think. I wanted to tally up for everybody kind of what we've spent, just for reference. I spent about, let me do the math here, because I just added some today. But about $1,700 is the total bill so far. Obviously not my time included, but cash outlay about $1,700. It was about $500 between the block. No, not $1,700. It was about $500 between the block and the heads, and then I put about a $700 rebuild kit, and so it totaled up to about $1,500. I'm sorry, I had the wrong number there, but about $1,500, $1,700. It's not much different, truthfully. So that's about what the outlay was on it. I'm pretty happy if it keeps going good and these check engine lights turn out to be just what I think they are. We're going to take it on a test drive here in a few minutes. Get my wife out here, get one of my daughters probably to follow me in her car and make sure that we're all good, and get this thing back home safe and sound tonight. So if the test drive goes good, then tomorrow I'll drive this little baby to work. Anyway, I hope you've found some use in our videos. I think this will be the last installment unless something else comes up, but I hope they're useful to you if you've got a 4.7 or a 4.7 HO that you've got to rebuild. And hang around and see what the next set's going to be. It's probably going to be a 4.0 liter rebuild for my daughter's 250,000 mile Jeep, which has got a small tick, not any big deal, but why not go through it? Hey, it's kind of fun. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.